What's up, everybody? It's the news angle, bitch.
Hey, it's your girl
Name is
CJ.
Demetrius.
Hey, it's your girl CJ. I can't. That one throws me off every time.
Oh my God. And it's your girl's favorite girl, Brandy.
I'm done.
Ow.
I'm done.
She's always done with us.
I am.
She stay being done with us, right?
It's
But she
been
always
like
come back,
20
though.
years, so I guess I just have to like swallow the pill and be okay with it.
Just drink the Kool-Aid.
Just get over it. So welcome back. A lot has been going on this past week or so with the news and current events, but we're gonna start off and get right into it so we can like talk about all this crazy stuff. First of all, the Kobe's death that is running people to make assumptions about all kinds of stuff, and all these even fake tweets happening, like people are like, oh, we called it and things like that. Now the cartoon that we found, well, Brandy found and then everybody else found, seems to be legit. What was that cartoon called? Do you remember?
It is a cartoon that's on Cartoon Network, but honestly, if somebody wants to look it up, they can Google it and pull it up. But I'll say this before we get into that, because I kind of didn't think we were going to go into that route on the news angle.
Nope.
I will say, condolences, prayers, and all of that going to anybody that was lost in that crash, because that was crazy.
That was 9 people.
At
That's
the end
a
of the day,
lot.
Nine.
it was 9.
Wow.
And that's just crazy. And I know people die every day. And I know we didn't know these people personally and all the rest of this stuff. But I know I felt very sad. I was very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely had tears in my eyes. And I'm like a Celtics girl. So for me to feel a way about somebody, if you follow basketball, you don't have to be a diehard fan to know that most people hated Kobe, and not like really hated him. I don't think.
No.
But it was kind of like, oh, you're so good, and we hate you for it, that type of thing. And it's just crazy to really, like, an icon in the game gone.
Absolutely.
I was just telling you before we got on here, I was in the laundry room and I dropped a sock and I picked it up and shot it, and I instinctively, Kobe. That's what you say. And I got so sad. And then his daughter too. It's so sad.
I was watching like clips from her, I guess, basketball games. She was in a basketball league herself. That little girl could ball. That was crazy. Like, she was really good. And just watching those clips, I had to turn it off because I was really feeling some type of way watching that. So this is just sad all the way around. Especially she was so young. She's only 13.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine like what his wife, her mom, is going through. Her sister. God. Like, and then even like all the other people too, like, because for a couple of the news articles left out the pilot. I don't know why. I don't know if it wasn't.
Yeah,
like,
they said unidentified. It
was just so weird to me.
Unidentified. And I'm like,
we know who the pilot is, because
maybe they did that on purpose, because maybe they're afraid people would be too crazy to blame the pilot and then try to go after his family.
That's true.
Because people do get crazy.
They are.
You know what I mean? So some people want somebody to blame.
Well, that goes right into people acting crazy and making fake Twitter accounts and, changing the date to tweet something and make it look like they tweeted it 4 or 5 years ago to say
all for attention.
Yeah, all for attention. Like, I just found the video thing too. Like, it was on Comedy Central, and that it's crazy. The link that you sent me, Brandy, is no longer. They took it down.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I sent you a screenshot, I think, so when you get a chance, look at it. It's blocked. They took it down. They were claiming copyright, but then it's been up for 2 years, so I don't understand. Oh, no, 4 years.
Girl.
It's been up on YouTube for 4 years, and all of a sudden, they took it down. I just watched the link that you sent me, Brandy, the day you sent it, and then I noticed
really crazy.
And then Dee sent me the other link, and that's from WorldStar. That one's still working, but who knows how long that's. I'm gonna go back and check and see if they take that down too. And it just struck me as something weird for somebody to do after having it online for 4 years, and then all of a sudden being like, oh, it's a copyright issue. Like, I don't know. And, I was talking to one of my friends about it, and she was like, she has a hard time believing, and I kind of agree with her. I have a hard time believing that it's completely just like conspiracy theories, because there are so many other people involved. But I will say, like, we're gonna get into it on our other episode, so I won't say much, but I think there's like maybe things that cross paths because of the day that it was, like it was a Grammy day and things like that. Could be a possibility. You know what I mean? It's just
and it's not us even like discussing this. Trust me, none of us are being like insensitive to the fact that lives were lost. That's a reality. I don't think this is a fake thing. And Kobe and his daughter are somewhere on an island with Tupac and Biggie. Like, these people really died, and it's sad. And I'm also something I noticed, and I didn't like it at all. I meant to go off on about it, but I was just. I was just too tired emotionally too. Anybody who does this, whether you're doing it on purpose or maybe you're subconsciously doing it, stop shaming people for not giving the same amount of attention to people we don't even fucking know like that than Kobe. Because people couldn't wait to be like, there were other victims, or why don't people keep the same energy for something like this? Or
it's weird.
Y'all will tweet about Kobe, but you won't do that. They'll get just super charged about it. And I'm like, you can't even let shit rest and go for a damn day. Like for a day.
Literally less than 24 hours. And I saw that too. And I was just thinking to myself, like, those people don't understand that all the other people, yes, all lives are the same precious lives, but at the same time, Kobe and Gigi had a name built. Of course, more people know about them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's going to be a bigger
reaction. It reminded me of, I think it was a Drake lyric. Like, I was basically like, look, they wasn't with him shooting in the gym, okay? Like, that's real shit. And we don't have to know that man personally and to feel the way we do, because I find it interesting that people all of a sudden throw out the window how we can feel about any celebrity or politician or whatever. They throw that out the window to make a point, knowing good and damn well we all have somebody that we idolize that we don't know, never met or whatever, but we put them on some type of pedestal. We admire them, whatever you want to call it. And now all of a sudden you're telling me you don't have anybody in your life like that and we should just be treating everybody on equal planes.
Yeah, it's so
I
weird.
get what you're saying, but I'm also like, that's not the reality of this situation.
I mean, like,
he had a huge impact on a lot of people's lives,
what I was
especially
gonna
younger
say.
people that are involved in the sport. They look up to him, And of course it's going to affect you, especially if it's somebody that you've been looking up to the majority of your life. Because I know Kobe's been out there. No, he's only 41, but he's been in the league since as far back as I can remember. I was in middle school when I first
started. Yeah, like 96. 96.
Yeah. Like pretty much his whole life, like half his life.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how young 41 was until I saw his picture up there and just saw like 41. And I was just like, you're young. And what's crazy even about that is how many times do we get caught up in numbers and being like, some of y'all think y'all life is over at 21, at 25, at 30. And it's like, it's just beginning. Like, we know life is short, but it's also like, don't take any of this for granted. You can always do something more with yourself. And Kobe was more than a basketball player. And it was very cool to see this transition into this legit local businessman, this Oscar-winning businessman. I mean, it's so sad. Like you said, I can't imagine what his wife is going through.
Just like those are two pieces of her heart, like literally pieces of your heart gone. Like I can't. It makes me tear up even thinking about it. It's crazy.
Girl, emotional. And even his daughter, I was just like, especially anybody that's got a kid or a little brother, sister, whatever, and you're just like, I'm like, this girl doesn't get to have a 16th birthday. She doesn't get to go to prom. She doesn't get to be walked down the aisle by her dad. The rest of the other girls don't get their dad at their wedding.
It's just,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's too much.
It's a lot. It hit home.
And I understand what people are saying on the other side too, when they're like, well, there were other people on board. Like, yeah, we get that. Like I said, it's just one of those things. Like it's like, to your point, it's like people don't act like when it was just one celebrity, people didn't do the same thing. Because like when MJ was gone, Prince was gone, Whitney was gone, because it was just one person, they didn't make it into something else. You know what I mean?
Right. And if anything, there was, I remember, not so much jokes, but us kind of being like, ooh, this wasn't the day to die, because I remember the same day Michael died, Farrah Fawcett, I believe.
Fawcett died that day
Everybody
too.
went.
And I was just like, man, I wouldn't want to die the same day as Michael, because shit, your news coverage is going to be about this much.
Right, I do remember
no matter
that.
who you are. But just to our point with that, we also weren't like, well, who else died August 2000, blah, blah, and let's hype them up too. Like, come on, you guys. Mm-hmm. Anybody that does that shit, you very much put yourself in the all lives matter category, and I can't fool with you. Like,
you better say that again, girl. Say it
It's
again.
literally the same damn thing. Like, they be the assholes that are like, well, my mom died of cancer too. Well, I'm talking about my mom. Shut the fuck up.
It's so crazy. Like,
there was a lot of stuff going around about that young girl. She was a young girl that passed away from cancer. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, you should just celebrate. I guess, I don't know if CoverGirl did something or some cosmetic line.
Did something about it? Yeah.
Did something with her, yeah. And they were posting a picture of everyone when she passed away. There was a lot of people saying like, oh, you should celebrate all lives that were affected by cancer, not just the pretty ones. And I'm like, it's not about you right now. It's about her today. She passed away.
So crazy.
Like, get over yourself.
That's too much. Well, I think like Brandy suggested, we're going to go into it a little more in depth on our longer episode. It would be coming out the Thursday before this episode actually drops. So if you're interested in our conversation about that, tune in. It'll be the episode before this. Okay, so the next thing was the Grammy winners and losers, the performances and stuff like that. Apparently I missed out on that because I was packing and stuff. So there was a Prince tribute.
Baby,
there was I did not see it. I'm gonna have to go watch it later.
No, you don't. You don't have to. It's fine. No, here's my thing.
And what is this like hashtag scammies that's trending right now?
Girl, okay, so boom. I watched them because me and my mom, we always like award shows or any type of like event show.
Right.
Like we'll watch that. Victoria's Secret, fashion show, all type of shit, right? So anyway, That's the only reason I watched it. It's our little bonding time. And we're dying laughing because not only did Usher just look very much like a 40-year-old man trying to perform. Now, I say that to say, I say that to say he still look good. He still got vocals. But seeing him try to do Prince made me realize, you're the person I want to do a Michael Jackson, James Brown tribute. I don't want you to do Prince. I'm like,
I agree.
Was Janelle Monáe not available? Was Miguel not available? Why aren't you? Who else? The girl that who plays like instruments. I'm like, Prince was a musician to me, and Usher is an entertainer to me.
Agreed.
So I feel like entertainers should mimic the entertainers and do tributes to them.
Agreed.
But what's also fucked up about this is you do a Prince tribute 4 years after he's died, all to promote another kind of concert that's going to happen in a couple of weeks or something like that.
Does he have like a tour coming up?
I don't know what's going. No, well, this isn't for Usher. This is about Prince, apparently.
Oh.
I don't know what this is about because you know how we feel about the music industry and the weird shadiness, craziness. But I was not a fan of the tribute, so y'all would have to YouTube it and watch it. It was just for me, dog.
And I have a really, I don't know. I think if Prince was able to see this, he wouldn't be very proud. I don't think he was into stuff like that. You know what I mean? Tributes, and that just wasn't his thing.
No.
The entertainment industry in general really wasn't his thing. You know what I mean? He was more about his craft. And, he kind of he always distanced himself from that crowd.
He's like the original shade giver, in my opinion, when he was on interviews and stuff.
Oh my gosh. I could watch him and Whitney do interviews all day long because they did not give a fuck. They did, and what I loved about them is they didn't want to play the game. They was like, I'm not going to be a puppet. I'm not going to play the game. You're going to ask me a question, and I'm going to come at you crazy.
They really straight shot all the questions. Like, I still remember Prince being like, you can't play it, like, on national TV, daytime. Like,
listen.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he was it right there. Like, I don't...
No, yeah.
I really wish...
The times I've seen him actually be at award shows and stuff, I feel like he's had his hand in it. Like when he decided to perform with Beyonce, and this was years and years ago. when they did do a tribute to him, I want to say BET did it, and it was like Patti LaBelle, Alicia Keys. It was like some real heavy hitters, and he was in the front row. So I'm like, you're not telling me he didn't hand select, like, if y'all gonna do this, this is who I want. They can make
this is who I want
to sing.
Exactly.
But this is who I want, because you just ain't gonna put nobody up here for me.
Right.
And Janelle Monáe performed for him too. She was a part of that melody too. So
she was a part of that same thing.
It was a mess. Like it wasn't cute. But Lizzo opened the show and she did a great job. I felt like she should have been in. I felt like all the awards that Billie Eilish won should have went to Lizzo. But I kind of feel like there's an agenda push going on with this Billie girl, because I don't know if y'all have seen her videos.
Oh, absolutely. It's really disturbing, actually.
The videos are very disturbing for someone who is 17, 18. I mean, I don't care how old she was.
Let's talk about how she started those videos when she was 13 and 14.
Oh, no.
Yes. And so she is just now turning 18, like 16.
Right. No, she just turned 18 like 2 days ago or something.
Something like that. But here's the thing. She has also a weird background because, you know, her brother is weird as fuck too. And he's dating a woman that looks just like his sister. I mean, his woman looks just like Billie Eilish. Y'all need to look this up. Like, I'm not even kidding. Look, I thought it was her in the picture, and it was not. Like, Brandy about to look it up.
Well, that's where that hashtag Scammies came in, because people were very upset that she took Album of the Year and all of these big awards. And they're like, you know, they felt like Lana Del Rey or Lizzo or other people deserved it. And I can feel where they're coming from on that. So that's what that Scammy thing was about.
I mean, I think we get snubbed at every award show, which is why BET was created in the first place. You know what I'm saying?
But BET being created, because I'm okay with us doing a FUBU thing. You know what I mean? And for us, by us, for those that don't know, I'm okay with that. But the reason why us getting and kind of either having equal playing field or taking over at things like the Oscars and the Grammys, because those are still the top tier images that matter and move and shape images in media. So it is important to see that diversity there and to have it stick behind the scenes and in the actual winners that we see. And until we get that really changed and whoever's voting for this stuff, we're not
well, the people who are voting are not even connected to the reality of what's going on in trending markets right now.
They're pushing an agenda, and I like that Tyler, the Creator, called this shit out, because he
sure did, didn't he? He went all over Twitter. He was like, I done saved this tweet just so I can come back to it. It was like 6 years ago or some shit.
Something like that. But on stage, he thanked Pharrell basically for being like the unique Black boy and giving him an opportunity to see himself. But then backstage at a press conference, he was kind of like, I feel like it was a backhanded compliment to give me the rap or anything that is Black, you categorize it as like urban this or whatever. And he's like, that's just another way of calling us the N-word. And I was like, okay, Tyler. So I was like, you better read them, because facts. And he was like, why can't it just be pop and rock? And for those that don't know, now you know, we created all that shit. We just talked about that.
I mean,
pop,
you
rock,
know,
music,
like, people don't know, like, for example, like, Lil Wayne is a good example. He never intended to ever be part of the rap category. You know that? He never, he never intended to be part of the rap category, but that's the only place he can survive, because if you actually listen to his albums, it's rock. It's not rap.
Yeah, I noticed he likes his guitars, and
that's his shit. He grew up doing different shit. Like, that's not his, like, it wasn't about the rap for him, but that's how he got his foot in the door, and so people just categorize him as that, like, you know.
And then also that goes back to what we were saying on the How to Be Black episode. Make sure y'all go watch it. They don't want us to be multifaceted. You want us in these boxes.
That's it.
Because it makes y'all feel comfortable. Meanwhile, you're still pushing the message that white people can be any and everything.
Hey.
And apparently, you know, say niggers and knackers.
Well, we're gonna leave on that note. Take a quick break.
That shit, man?
We'll be right back.
Come back and get into that.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. And we're back. We left it at the N-word.
Niggas.
But because of that, let's go right into our fans who were butthurt. Maybe not our fans, maybe people who were scrolling through Instagram and Facebook that was really hurt by a post that we put out.
Triggered. Question, was anybody Black triggered by that?
No, that's the thing, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious that it wasn't going to be anybody who was, no POCs were triggered, no Asians, no Hispanics, anybody. Yeah, and then, so the post that we're talking about it's a quote that somebody had said before. It's called, it was, "Racism is the only invention white people won't take credit for."
Sorry.
People,
it's so funny.
People got so upset, and it's just interesting to me. Because one of the girls that posted a comment was talking about, you know, that post is racist as well. And I was like, can you explain yourself? And she was like, well, you called white people white. That's racist. I was like, I don't think you understand what the term racism means. People, they're white people. And I'm a half Black person. Like, Dee and Brandy are Black. I don't know what. And it's just interesting. And like, you know, one of the guys who were there's like
paragraphs.
Oh, I haven't been back on because, you know, I was packing.
Oh God, he was still writing novels, and I'm like, sir, let it go. You want to be right so bad. I noticed something about what a lot of this random guy who's a Trump supporter. I looked him up because I'm not gonna lie.
Facebook?
I'm like, I looked him up. I was like, this rhetoric, it just sounds familiar, and I was like, I'm just gonna look because I feel like you're the type of guy that maybe has like a background of a pickup truck and American flag and a bald eagle, something like that. I'm scrolling through and I'm like, oh, here it is. And then even when you're giving your political opinions, what you're doing, which I've never really respected anybody for, is you're calling liberals idiots and this, that, and other. I may not agree with what somebody is doing in politics, but I ain't never just flat out called names and dog nobody out.
That's the thing.
So when you're doing that level of it, you're already ignorant and immature. So I already gotta take your conversation half serious because you can't even have a mature conversation about something or someone you just like.
Yeah.
And then I've noticed with not all, so again, don't come for us, but come for us if you want to, you're gonna lose.
I mean, we can talk it out.
Most white people get upset anytime you are making a true statement like we did with that meme. And they like to immediately go to stop feeling sorry for yourself as Black people. It's not slavery times anymore. It's not segregation anymore. It's not none of that anymore. You didn't grow up in it. I don't know why you're so triggered. This ain't that, blah, blah, blah. That's their go-to. Meanwhile, like we've said time and time again, does anybody say that to Jews? I highly doubt it. It would be extremely insensitive for you to say that to them.
Right.
So again, what's the difference? Does anybody say that to victims that go through the gun violence and all these schools being shot up? Is anybody just taking any group of people and being like, hey, you need to quit feeling sorry for yourselves and get over that? You need to kind of
that's the thing. So one of the guys who was commenting was what he had said was that, you know, like Irish people were slaves too, and they love saying that shit. Other white Caucasian
they like
things.
They like to say white people were slaves, and they love to say Black people own slaves too.
Right. So he brought up the fact that one of the first Black men here owned slaves, and I just had to laugh because I know for a fact that all he did was like type in Google and put in first slave owner, and the only name that ever comes up when you do that is Anthony Johnson. No matter.
And let's try it as a triangle experiment.
I'm telling you, it's Anthony Johnson because I knew that off the top of my head, and I was like, you know,
I am Google.
I am Google. Listen, that was my nickname at one of my stores when I used to work there. They used to call me Google. But like, seriously, like if you're gonna research something, you really can't read just the top 5 SEO results. You know what I mean? Because SEO stands for search engine optimized. That means that people pay for Google AdWare, those companies who have more clicks because of the AdWare. So those are going to pop up first. So if you read the first 3 to 5 articles, you're not getting the real answer to what you're looking for.
And then where he also had me fucked up, don't use that as an excuse to why your ancestors probably ended up doing the same thing times 10, and then anything after that was a fight. because it was a business and really a business decision and a fight for us not to be slaves in that sense. And then y'all just basically repurpose the word slaves and move that somewhere else. I'm just not trying to hear that from anybody who's going to be that insensitive about it and use that as like, okay, well, we're even because this guy I Googled, he had it, so you can't ever talk about it.
Well, that's what I was telling him. I was like, I understand that every continent, every country, and every ethnic background has had slaves. I don't deny it. But the issue is that we, like in our Black community, well, Black society, sorry, we're still struggling with the aftermath. You know what I mean?
That part.
People joke about, like, Jewish people being, money hungry or something like that. They got jokes about that, but there's not really, other than, maybe like one or two select groups going after Jewish people in that sense. Jewish people can pass as regular Caucasian and they're not being stopped at a job because of their hair. They're not being stopped at school and told to leave the classroom because their hair is dreaded. They're not, none of those things are happening if your skin is not Black. That's all it is. And we're still paying for all the things that happened back then. And I say back then, but it really wasn't back then. If my dad was in a segregated military, like, it's not that long ago. If my grandmother could tell me the story about World War II, it wasn't that long ago. Like, I'm sitting here telling y'all firsthand accounts from not like the history.
My mom's birth certificate says Negro.
My dad's military name says Negro.
Or if we think about when our parents were born, I'm just like, a lot of our parents, or even, like you said, grandparents, were able to read the newspaper about Emmett Till, and they're still alive.
Right.
Like, this is not something that was just centuries ago. But even if it was, we are still dealing with the residual effects of what y'all set up for you to gain from. Now, what bothers me even about having this conversation, because two things why I almost think it's probably never going to change. One, because it would mean such a shift in the society economically. It would have to be such a shift, and they can't even take being called out in a meme, let alone anything else changing. So I don't see it changing because of that, one. And then two, most people that I've tried to have this conversation with, they get fired up as if something happened to them, as if they know what it's like to go up, because we don't get to pass, okay? I don't know what it's like to pass. And so when I'm like, where is your like compassion and the empathy?
It's not of it. That's their white privilege.
They're automatically annoyed even having conversations. I've seen it even in body language. I've tried to pay more attention to that, having conversations with people. They will, like, even in the body language, the arms go up. They're tense. They're crossed. I mean, you can just see it all through here. And I'm like, you don't think even that right there is something maybe genetic or even spiritually passed down? For you to even get this kind of haughty right now? Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what I tell Rob, that's the diet racism that people don't understand that they still have. They do. Like,
they don't get it. I'm like, you inherited that shit.
You may not even be conscious of it. Like, the fact that I have to always repeat that white privilege has nothing to do with financial standing is just mind-boggling to me.
Absolutely fucking nothing.
I'm not saying that white people aren't poor. I'm not saying that white people don't have everyday struggles. I'm saying that you don't have a coupled like situation with that. You're not getting told to leave a classroom, like I said, because your hair is too curly or too long and dreaded. Or like, you can't get a job if you have an afro puff. Like, you think I could go to a job interview with my two puffs? Hell no. Like,
or people aren't worried about a group of y'all walking around at a certain time.
Do people cross the street when they see like 2-3 niggas? Like, they always
now
do.
I may be a little shook if I see one of y'all in like a little trench coat in the movie theater or something.
Okay, see, that's different.
But y'all can freely travel in packs. So even with them taking that phrase, some, not all, even with them taking that phrase and making it about something it's not, you're deflecting, and we're still not getting anywhere because we can't even have the honest conversation that you are benefiting from the system that your ancestors set up for you. And we are still in the hole in a lot of ways, and we have to work our asses off in so many different ways.
Well, like that guy on Facebook was like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I was like, can you explain that? But he never explained it. He just went into a whole nother situation. And I'm like,
called deflection.
Yeah, that's all he did.
Deflection in its finest.
He never explained
stop
it.
Feeling sorry for yourself. I'm like, you talking to somebody you don't know like that, and still to me coming with that energy of I'm master, you the slave, you do what I say, you feel how I tell you to feel. You don't need to feel upset about
You don't need to feel upset about that shit.
Nope.
What gets me is that, I don't know, this is how I look at the whole thing. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, the big picture, I'd say the part that sucks the most out of all of that shit is just saying that you're an American is what's crazy. Because we always have to make sure we put a sub in front of it, even though this country was built off of our backs.
That part.
And our fucking black blood built this fucking country. Chinese blood built this fucking country. Everybody contributed, but we contributed the most. You see what I'm saying? And the fact that there still has to be a African in front of it. We don't even get the privilege to call ourselves just American. Without somebody trying to put you in a box.
That's exactly what my dad used to say.
There's no white American. You don't have to say that. You know what I mean?
They made sure to do
default.
I think they made sure to do the native, the African. Isn't there? Is it Asian or does it say Pacific Islander?
So it's either Asian American or Amerasians, and they have a whole nother thing for Pacific Islanders. That's not even included in the word American. So it's Amerasians or Asian Americans, and so
for somebody to say like you don't feel sorry for yourself, stop feeling sorry for yourself. No, motherfuckers aren't feeling sorry. Motherfuckers is feeling some type of way.
Right.
Because look at how we still have to live our lives. We still are put in the same fucking box all the goddamn time. We can't even celebrate our fucking nationality without being reminded that we're black.
I just read something and I'll send it to you guys. It's a very iffy subject because it's something that Hitler said a very long time ago about American Blacks finding out that they are the original Jews. And he meant Jews as in the Jews and God's people. And that's what they don't want us to do. But that's a whole nother episode. But I was like, there's a lot of stuff. It's like when we talked about, most Black people who are from America are not of African descent. They're just not. And I feel like this 23andMe and the DNA tests that are going around will prove that in the next 10 to 15 years if enough people take it. It did it for you, D. You got moved from like native indigenous American to like all the way down south.
All the way down.
South America.
Mexico. I was like, what?
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. I
took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that bitch.
All right, last thing. Did you want to say something about Jim Carrey? I didn't know what you wanted to say about that.
Yeah. As we wrap up our news angles. My girl, Miss, well, I won't put your name out there because I don't want anybody finding you. Well, I won't say your last name. Dorinda. Hi, boo, love you. So she made an excellent point. She listens to us all the time, by the way. So she was leaving a voicemail. Yeah, she'll leave like several voice messages reviewing the episode.
Is she the one that subscribed?
Yeah, she's
Dorinda, thank you for your monthly subscription. Shout out. We gotta shout her out hard. Hard. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Dee frozen?
Yes, he is.
In the middle of a class. There he is. Okay. Dee, you were frozen like this. That's hilarious. But apparently there was, I know there's a meme, and then there's also an interview where Jim Carrey is basically giving credit to the Wayans brother and everybody Black that gave him his opportunity to grow, to do what he does, and have it just be him. And he's basically like giving them props as the Black people that held him up, had his back, held him down. Saying that in relation to Justin Timberlake, because some of y'all are still bothered by that.
They really are. JT fans are coming for us.
They're triggered. You can't mess with JT, baby. I didn't know it was like that. They are upset about JT. But anyway, they made the point. When she said that, I thought about it. I'm like, Jim Carrey was around Black folks for real. Because In Living Color was very Black.
Oh, yeah.
And for him,
Black as fuck.
Black AF. For him to essentially grow up, in a sense, on that show, because they were all very young, or at least he was. And he's never been kind of like a Black caricature, wearing, cornrows and bedazzled bandanas and chains and doing this shit that Justin has done. Jim never did that, and that's a white man. So that's to the point of the people that are saying things like, well, what if you grew up around that? Well, Jim practically did and was in a professional environment with it, and still didn't do blackface with it. So
that's my like border between the appropriation and appreciation. JT appropriation, Jim Carrey appreciation.
And there it is. I mean? But y'all can keep coming for us. That's fine.
I think we're all out of time unless you guys want to do the Tyler Perry thing on the next episode. But I mean, you know.
I don't have beef with Tyler Perry.
I don't either. I just hate his wigs and the same storyline.
Oh my God. I just saw some shit recently. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, can we do this? Like, okay, you know what? We'll keep it short. 30 seconds from each person. Man. How do you feel about Tyler Perry and his movies? Go, D. Go, 30 seconds.
Fire your stylist. Fire him. Get a new one. Hire Brandy. Shit, my mom. Anybody.
Hire me.
She's a styler. Let's styler.
I'm
trying to work at Tyler Perry Studio, so I ain't got nothing bad to say. Hey, boss.
Ain't nothing wrong with you, Tyler Perry. You just need a little help. You know what? On a serious note, I think he needs to stop trying to do everything on his own. I think he needs to hire the right people in the right positions. I don't think he should be the one going out there finding the wigs or the costumes or the makeup.
No. It looked like he did it himself.
Yeah, no. You know why he's so good at what he's doing? Because there is a certain audience that be looking like them characters and wearing them wigs.
They be wearing the wigs.
But we're not going to do is act like there's lots of people that be where they wigs be on point.
Okay, but here's my thing though.
To those people that look like that and that have them bad church wigs. So.
No, but here's the thing. If you want longevity in what you're trying to do, then you have to cater to the younger generation that's coming up and coming, because that's where the money's going to be in 10 years. That's all I'm saying. It's a money move.
I think he's going to be here in 10 years, though.
I think he will be, but all the people who watch that show going to be 85, so he's going to have a new audience soon.
I'm pretty sure he can do, because he's already doing it. He got a show on BET that's like their modern day girlfriends. He's already doing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Damn wigs.
Fix the wigs.
Fix it.
On that note, we're gonna leave, and we'll come back with more current events and whatnot.
A new wig.
Yep. If you're listening to this, make sure to check out our last episode. We're talking about Kobe thing in depth, the coronavirus, and a few other things. So make sure you check us out. Catch us every Monday for the Triangle, the NewsAngl.
Drink your kombucha.
Oh my God. Make sure to subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, comment, tell us how you feel. If it's about JT, don't. I'm kidding.
Man, listen, if we have to go into the next episode talking about Justin again, I swear to God.
People are really out for us and Justin Timberlake. So anyway, but hit the notification so you get your weekly episodes. Well, twice a week now. So we love you. Stay blessed. We'll check you out later.
Bye.
Bye.